In the early hours of Wednesday morning, a Stellenbosch University student was stabbed to death in a street mugging. 4 suspects have been arrested, but this shocking murder is the latest incident in a wave of crime sweeping the town.
Stellenbosch is home to around 30,000 students who take full advantage of its vibrant nightlife. But leaving the bars and clubs after a night of revelry, they've become easy targets for criminals. The town is seeing a spike in robbery, theft and kidnappings. With fears building and parents desperate to keep their kids safe, how are authorities responding? Lorenza is a former Stellenbosch University student herself and has this story.
Guys, it went slow. Why did it go slow? This is when you run, guys. It's not okay.
With Stellenbosch, the thing is that you don't expect it. It's like you're lulled into a false sense of security.
Guys, the car's looking for us. Run. Run.
I came to Stellenbosch thinking, you know, it's very safe. I mean, look at the buildings, it's stunning. It's like nothing could go wrong.
We're almost there, run.
After a couple of really traumatic experiences, I landed up realizing that it's very much still South Africa and we need to be safe, we need to be cautious.
Hi.
Stellenbosch, a beautiful university town with oak-shaded streets and Cape Dutch architecture. But beneath its charming surface, a darkness has emerged. There's been a disturbing rise in crimes targeting students. In the worst cases, some are even kidnapped. Since June, there have been 5 abduction cases.
I was asleep, so when the phone rang, it didn't initially register, but when I heard her sobbing, that's when it sort of kicked in, and my heart was just in my mouth. And as a mother, I felt absolutely helpless. First of all, I couldn't get there because I'm not in the same...
The mother agreed to talk to us if we hid her identity. Her daughter, who graduated last year, had returned for a night out with friends in June and was walking from one nightclub to another when she was abducted.
How it happened is unclear, but having spoken to her friends who just literally said she disappeared into thin air, because it was a crowd, they look and they watch who are friends and they come between them and you don't notice. They've obviously all had a few drinks. She was edged out and there was a car waiting there and she was put into the car.
Her daughter was driven around and ordered to hand over her phone.
By the grace of God, not too far from where this happened, she was dropped off in the built-up area of Stellenbosch.
Miraculously, she was unharmed, but this would foreshadow a far more serious case that happened exactly 1 week later. 2 first-year Stellenbosch University students headed to the nearby Franschhoek Pass to stargaze.
My wife tried to contact my son about 6 p.m. He was with his girlfriend, which probably been dating for about a month or so. We knew very little about that. He sent us a photo of the mountain pass. We didn't at the time know that it was Franschhoek Mountain Pass. That was the last communication we had with him, and it was just after 6 p.m.
The father, who didn't want to be identified, heard from his son again several hours later. It would be the start of a terrifying ordeal.
They had the boot of the car open, they had the back seats down, they had bought snacks and that, and they were basically looking out. And a vehicle pulled up from behind them with guns. After hitting my son, threw them in the back of the car, and they drove off. At around 8 p.m. in the evening, I saw there was a missed call on my phone, but I also saw a significant amount go out of his bank account. And within a few minutes of that, I had a call from him to say that he had been kidnapped, and if we didn't pay a ransom, that they were going to kill him and his girlfriend.
Take your time.
Transfer this money. Otherwise, you won't see them again. You must do the right thing.
One of the kidnappers then came on the phone, very aggressive, abusive. While I was on the phone, I was trying to communicate with my wife to advise of what was going on. My daughter, she managed to get through on the hotline number to police. Immediately put us through to the Hawks, a special kidnapping unit, who were phenomenal.
He spent the next hour negotiating with the kidnappers on a ransom amount.
There were 2 separate bank accounts that I transferred funds into. After that, the agreement was that they would release my son and his girlfriend, but that didn't happen. Instead, they approached her father for ransom money.
Can you tell us how much money you paid them?
It was a significant amount. I prefer not to divulge amounts. So because the kids were recovered within 10 hours, the bank managed to put a stop to all the payments. The kidnappers actually didn't receive any of the funds.
The students were taken to an abandoned house and later released on the pass. 3 days later, just one of the 3 alleged kidnappers was arrested. Back in Stellenbosch, it would not be the end of the spate of abductions. Here in 𝗀𝗁𝗁 Street, on the 14th of August, a 21-year-old university student was walking back home when he was abducted just before midnight. He was assaulted and thrown into a silver Toyota Corolla with no number plates. 3 armed men drove with him in the direction of Somerset West. Now, he fought back, and about 9 kilometers away from his flat, he was thrown out of the car. He started walking back, and just after 1 in the morning, he arrived back home, his clothes torn and covered in blood. He reported the case to police the next day, but just 12 days later received this message to say the case was closed. The family was too traumatized to speak to us on camera, but said they're frustrated by the lack of police investigation. In an emailed response, police said the case was closed for several reasons, including that the victim had not given a description of the vehicle or the suspects who kidnapped him, and there was no video footage of the incident or witnesses. With kidnapping being such a serious and prevalent crime in South Africa, we had so many questions for the Stellenbosch police station commander. Like, why was the August abduction case closed in only 12 days? And could all of these cases be connected? Now, initially, the station commander agreed to an interview, but couldn't get the green light from Province. And when we arrived for our appointment, he'd already left for other engagements. Stellenbosch police conceded in an email that muggings have become more prevalent and that students are soft targets. Criminals have gotten more brazen, targeting students even in broad daylight. Now, this wasn't the case when I was a student here many years ago. And understandably, this leaves students on edge, questioning their personal security. The need for vigilance has never been greater. Students we spoke to all had a story to tell.
I've been sexually harassed by a car guard. I've been bitten by a random man on the street.
A friend of mine had been pickpocketed. I tried to confront the pickpockets and he ran away, and I tried to chase him and landed up in a very intense car accident which left me with a broken leg and in rehab for a couple of months.
I was walking down Bird Street and a man jumped me and I cut the side of my leg open because he was trying to steal my phone, but luckily I got away.
Not so lucky were 𝗀𝗁𝗍𝗔 and her 2 friends who had been on a night out earlier this year and were walking home together.
It was for a birthday celebration. We were just walking back. She had a little bit of tequila, so she was hugging trees, as one does. And that's why I was actually recording the video. And then that's when I saw the car.
Guys, the car's looking for us. Run. Run.
Jolene threw her phone into bushes, but her friends' phones, IDs and valuables were taken.
He just said, "Give me your phone or I'm going to shoot you." And I said, "I don't have my phone." And they said, "I saw you had your phone, you were recording." And then someone had called the guy to get back into the car. So they wanted this to be a quick thing. I don't think they wanted to draw a lot of attention to themselves.
Students are easy targets. So what is being done to protect them? The University of Stellenbosch declined our request for an on-camera interview, but said in a statement that safety measures are reviewed continuously and that more than 200 security staff are deployed across campus.
The problem in Stellenbosch is we've got approximately 30,000 students, and they enjoy themselves like young people should do.
Some nightclubs have excellent security, but can't control what happens on the streets.
Junior, just watch your crowd at the back there. Make sure there's no one hanging around, please.
Private companies are trying to plug the security gap.
The mothers of the students, they came to us and said, what can we do? This is the ABC Student Protection app that we do in conjunction with 𝗀𝗲𝗏.
Security company manager Stephen Nelson said they offer a service specifically for students, an app that allows them to make direct contact with a security control room.
SAPs, their hands are tied. They just have so many vehicles and so many patrolling bodies that can assist during the course of a night. And we know when alcohol starts creeping in, people don't think properly and they get into difficult situations. They get abducted, their cell phone gets stolen. It's just a nightmare.
A very real nightmare that unfolded for a student outside a nightclub in a recent abduction case on the 8th of September.
His friends, they were still just outside a pub and saw him being yanked into a car.
His mother, 𝗀𝗁𝗍𝗔, said his friends immediately tracked his location through a tracking app, but his phone was subsequently switched off in a neighboring township.
The signal for the Life 360 app now ends at this river, and they actually thought that they were going to find a body in the river.
The abduction lasted several hours.
They took all his valuables and then they just left him. He had absolutely no idea where he was. A taxi stopped for him, and it so happened that one of the people on the vehicle was actually a security officer from the Stellenbosch campus, and said, you know, you're actually very lucky to have not been attacked any further, and said, we're taking you right back home.
The victims in 4 of the abduction cases were too traumatized to talk to us. We chose not to approach the victim in the 5th case, as the incident was still recent. The emotional impact of their ordeals likely to linger for months to come. For the parents, it's been a wake-up call that they hope no other families will have to experience. What would justice look like to you and your family? It's okay.
Yes, they need to arrest these, I don't know what one calls them, gangs or syndicates. It's got to be put to a stop.
Thanks for watching. Why not drop us a comment below? We love reading your opinions. Remember, you can now access Carte Blanche stories anytime, anywhere, even offline. Carte Blanche, the podcast, is now available on all major podcast platforms. So be sure to hit that follow or subscribe button and be part of our growing online family.